But hey, so we mentioned kind of the idea of different bundles aimed at different people and stuff. So today there was the terms of service for 3.5 firmware for the beta came out. And the idea was, or the one of the things listed was PSVR experiences are not meant for anyone under the age of 12.
Yeah.
And apparently Oculus is a similar thing in its TOS for people under 13.
Yes.
The big question for VR, for us at least, has been how mainstream can it possibly become? Like, is this something that's going to sell 10 million units, or is this something where like there'll be a few thousand Vives and Oculuses and PSVRs in the wild, but it's going to be kind of niche? Do you think not having kids, not having games like licensed games, not having like kids games could hurt that mainstream viability?
Playroom is effectively kids games. I think that even if they don't market them to kids, a lot of the games that we are getting, kids will want to play anyway. I don't think it matters at all. It's the same as like only use Facebook if you're over 13. Like what's with all these 10-year-olds? They're gonna play it anyway.
Yeah, but I mean this.
But who's gonna buy something that costs that much money for their kid?
For their 11-year-old kid, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the
PS4s.
things. Yeah, and that's also part of the like. Well, if you buy it and you have a kid, are you gonna be like, well, I shouldn't let him or her try this out?
Why they can't? Like why?
They said it is literally it was because like of. Sort of mental and visual development
Some
is
issue
still
with,
occurring.
Like, sensory development.
Yeah,
and
maybe?
it could even be like height and things like the way people are meant to be positioned when this is developed. Like if you're like 4'1", it might not actually work.
I mean, but like legitimately, like yeah, Andrew. Like legitimately though, like I think VR requires a level of maturity to it and an ability to sort of understand the difference between fiction and reality in a way that, yeah, you could say that about literally any work of art, but like this more than anything of putting on a helmet and being transported somewhere, like you need the emotional maturity to understand like that you are not actually in this place and that this is not real.
The way that I was scarred by seeing like it as a kid.
Yeah.
If I had been in an immersive room where it felt real and I couldn't even shut my eyes.
I was a 5-year-old who played the kitchen.
Oh no,
the kitchen
we
demo.
definitely don't want kids playing VR horror games. But like, I mean, I think that's a really interesting point. I don't know that I agree with it, but I mean, could kids accidentally get stuck in VR and think that the things that happen there are real?
I mean, yeah, there's a kid watches it and then goes to bed and thinks Pennywise is under his bed. And it's like, no, Pennywise is Tim Curry. He's just a fat old British man.
I mean, even when I watched horror movies as a kid, I was terrified of The Ring. That really bothered me. I was also terrified of the Batman movie where Jim Carrey is the Riddler.
Batman Forever?
Terrified. I locked myself in the bathroom
Batman Forever?
and cried.
Batman Forever. Yeah.
I was very, very scared of that.
Why?
I don't know. I just found Jim Carrey really scary when I was
Just scared of the color green.
Are you scared of the curvature of a question mark?
St. Patrick's Day is coming.
Oh no!
I'm gonna cry in bathrooms again. But anyway, even despite finding them very scary, I knew that they weren't real.
Yeah.
I knew it was my imagination that Jim Carrey was gonna come in my bedroom at nighttime.
I think that.
Let's move on past that one. All right, we all heard it.
Natural. That aside, like the idea of a child not being able to separate reality and a game world aside, like putting that issue aside, just the pure. I mean, like let's say people abide by this 12 and under rule, like that means you can't really market like Disney tie-ins. That means you can't really market like little easy license things that are meant for young kids, and like something like Toys to Life, something like imagine if when you like a Skylanders VR game or something like where you could like scan it and have it full size in front of you, or like traveling next to you like a Pokemon or something.
I think there is absolutely no way that this rule is going to last.
Yeah,
I feel like I might be part of a minority who thinks that VR is going to become incredibly mainstream. Like incredibly mainstream.
See, I think it's going to become incredibly mainstream. I just think that's a decade away.
Sure,
I don't think that happens on any of the hardware we're looking at right now.
It's not coming anytime soon, but I definitely think it's going to happen. And because of that, I mean, you have to include kids.
I mean, it's also, aren't there like VR is being added to a lot of theme parks with stuff? Like, isn't there a Mass Effect VR, or is that just 4D?
It might just be 4D, but there is a Mass Effect attraction.
I mean, technically, like stuff like Star Tours, like that's the same kind of vein.
Yeah,
and kids are allowed on Star Tours.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it'll just in general be interesting watching store shelves and watching, you know, like, okay, so VR launches and it's 2017. This stuff's been out for a year, and Walmart is marketing 2 new games, and one of them is a licensed game that tends to do well. It's a Zootopia 2 tie-in or whatever, and one of them is a niche VR game. Like, I don't know how you fight for that shelf space until it's all inclusive, until it's all ages. Although at the same time, 12 isn't that young either. Yeah. I mean, like Yeah, like 6-year-old kids can't play that, or that old rather. I meant like 6-year-old kids can't play this, but like 12-year-olds are still plenty into kids games. Like that's still young enough that they're going to be looking at kind of the all ages market.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, at what point do kids go from kids games to wanting to play Call of Duty? What age is that?
It's
12.
Legitimately has probably gotten younger.
I
Yeah,
would say like
seriously.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have
I really am
I have
bad at
nephews that are like
ages.
10 and they still play a ton of Minecraft.
I like Minecraft. Okay, Minecraft is ageless.
I think Minecraft's awful.
You clearly haven't played it.
I agree that Minecraft is ageless.
Thank you.
You know what else is
Andrew has
ageless?
my back.
You know what else is ageless? The devil.
Really?